Christmas, everyone. Welcome back to the Christmas Countdown Show, episode number 4, season number 2. You got two of your buddies right here. I'm Eric Peterson. This is Danny Jordan.
So many numbers.
You got another buddy in New York City who's joining us on the ones and twos, our producer extraordinaire, Mr. Chris Sisley. And you're here with us, and we are so happy that you found us and that you made us part of your day, and you're listening, allotting us time, and you're listening. What's the word I'm looking for?
I'm just going to let you keep going. Yeah,
I'm dying here.
I'm watching you like, Danny.
In your listening portfolio. Ooh. That's what I'll say. Allotting us time in your listening portfolio. We're so happy that you're with us. We got a great episode for you here
so
today.
Great. It's going to be packed full of numbers, apparently.
Packed full of numbers,
You're like, you got 2 and 4 and 1 and 3.
That's true. I did kind of lead that one.
I was like... It's like one of those like questions on your SATs where it's like, if a train leaves from New York at 2:46 at 600 miles per hour, and you're like, what?
Why so many numbers?
Why are there so many numbers? I just want to talk about Christmas.
But we're here, and the countdown list that we are going to do today for you is the top 5 traditions from around the world.
Yes.
Top 5 traditions from around the world. So these are not necessarily traditions that Danny and I have had here in America.
Right.
But we know we have a lot of international listeners. So maybe a tradition from your homeland will be brought up today. We'll see.
I'm excited to dive into these because there were so many traditions. I don't know if you experienced this, Eric, during your research, but I was like, what?
Yeah.
This is really cool, or that is really creepy. There are some creepy Christmas traditions out there.
There are.
Spoiler alert, I didn't include any creepy ones.
I did not either.
On my list.
Are you referencing the Krampus?
Oh my God.
That's a very
scary.
Very scary, intense Christmas tradition of sort of like Sweden and the Netherlands, I think, is sort of the main area that they do it.
He sort of looks like the devil.
Yeah, it's like the devil who you have Santa who's bringing joy, but they feel like you need to balance it out with
where does that come from? Like,
character.
That felt like that was a part of a lot of Christmas traditions. Was like, hey, if you're good, you're going to get candy. If you're bad, we're going to smack you with a stick.
Yeah,
there was a lot of that sort of stuff I was finding.
Yeah, but I mean, that kind of stuff was in American culture. I feel like it's less now. You know, like now you wouldn't really threaten a kid with giving them coal on Christmas, right?
No.
Like nobody would. You may do it as a joke or something, but like no one is actually going to tell their kids like you're going to get no presents this year. And in fact, you're going to get coal in your stocking. Like your kid would have to be messing up pretty bad.
True. Did I ever tell you the story of the really bad Santa experience that I had when I was a kid?
No, please tell me.
So my dad, the one who gave us this incredible fire extinguisher that is sitting next to our fireplace, just in case these old lights light our studio on fire,
or our fake fire comes.
Exactly. Maybe last episode we'll just what is it called? Flocking? What do you when you do the white stuff on the tree?
I don't know. I didn't know there was a phrase for it.
You didn't know this?
No.
Like when people get their I'm not one of these people. These people are monsters. But when they spray their tree with like the white stuff to make it look like snow.
Okay, yes.
Is it called floffing? Chris, do you know?
It's called flocking.
Flocking.
Okay,
yeah.
Do they do it with a fire extinguisher?
I hope not.
Oh,
that would be kind of smart though, right? Because if your tree caught
preloaded.
on fire, it won't because boom, built in fire extinguisher. But anyway, so my dad, Michael, years ago, he opened and ran the Burbank bureau of CNBC, and they had Tom Snyder came and did a show on CNBC not long after it relaunched. He did a nighttime talk show, and they did a holiday special in the lobby at the NBC offices here in Southern California, and there was a Santa who came on the show, and because we were the kids of like the guy who ran the office, like my brother and I are standing there for pretty much the entire broadcast, like right next to this like bench where Tom is sitting, and then Santa comes and joins him, and Santa brought up a couple kids to like give them gifts.
Great.
Santa was played by Weird Al Yankovic.
The actual Weird Al?
With the actual Weird Al, but nobody knew that it was him. Because he had the Santa thing on, but he was just like, he had the bag and he was just giving horrible gifts to the kids. I think, if I remember correctly, I know either my brother or myself got a floodlight, but it was like out of the box. It was just like a pink floodlight.
Missing the extension cord.
Yeah, like it was just the bulb. It was just a bulb. One of us, I think, got like a roll of toilet paper.
Yeah.
Or maybe just like the toilet paper roll.
Right.
And there's like, I'll put these photos up on our social media, but there's like, you can find this video on YouTube of the Christmas special. My brother and I are standing there and we're both just like staring daggers at Santa because he's just
what
been,
the heck, man?
He's just been so horrible to us. And my brother was so young. I think my brother was 6 at that time.
Not cool.
And so he was just like, he was so confused by
Did he eventually like say, "I'm Weird Al Yankovic, this was a joke"?
He did,
Okay.
yes. But that might have been even more confusing for the children to be like, hey, I'm going to give you really crappy gifts, and then I'm going to pull off my
Also,
beard
I'm not Santa.
and reveal to you that I'm some guy named Weird. I'm Weird Al, and I'm not actually Santa Claus. This has all been a farce.
That's a formative
That's my
experience.
Krampus. That's my Krampus
Yes.
experience.
The American version of Krampus. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I like that.
But we got a lot of traditions to get to today, and I'm excited
do?
to chat about them.
Couple things we want to talk about before we get into our countdown. You know how Danny and I like to do
A couple
the,
things.
the chit chat before the countdown.
Just a couple little
Just a couple little tidbits here. You know, it won't take long. Maybe like 45 minutes.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. Buckle up.
But number one is we forgot to talk about this on our last episode,
Mm.
and I think it's important because we're very excited about this.
Yeah.
If you go to our website, which is ChristmasCountdownShow.com, we have a merch store now. We have some very fun slogans and quips and quotes that we've put on T-shirts,
Yeah.
mugs, candles, hats, all the stuff that you could want. And we really encourage you to go check it out because we think that we've come up with some pretty funny ideas that are fun, that your kids could wear, that you could wear, that people are going to say, "Whoa, where'd you get that Christmas T-shirt or hoodie?" And you'll say, "Check out the Christmas Countdown Show."
You know what I love about our merch and our shop is that, you know, a lot of times you go on the internet around the holidays or you go shopping at like Walmart, Target, whatever, and you're just seeing like a lot of the same stuff, just with a different font or a different picture or sort of whatever. I feel like our stuff is very original.
It is.
I feel like the quotes that we've come up with, the designs that we've come up with, I haven't seen
Really
this
anywhere.
sort of stuff
Yes.
out in the world.
Agreed.
Namely, the one that's just the picture of you and me that says Christmas Countdown. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But, so if you're a super fan and you want your own Christmas Countdown Show branded merch, you can get leggings.
The leggings are great.
Nothing says, Warrior 3 pose in yoga. Like
Eric and Danny's face.
smiling and waving at you. That'll.
You know, I actually came up with a design last night
Really?
that I made that I'm going to show you right
Tell me
now.
all
This is
about
going to be
it.
a live reaction.
Okay.
I have to give credit where credit is due. My wife came up with the phrase. I
Okay.
did the design. I'll just show it to you and you can read it.
Ooh, that's fun. It says seasonings, greetings, and it is like a little like
spice rack.
little spice rack.
Isn't
That's
that fun?
really fun.
Like if you're a baker or you're like, this seems like something that a mom or a grandma would love to wear. So we basically, but it's things like this that we have these great ideas.
I love that
They're
one.
they're punny. They're
punny.
They're
dad
great.
joke to the max.
Dad joke to the max. So check out our merch store. It's live now, so you can get whatever you want. Check that out. That's-
People are digging it. I got to say. I just saw I get emails every
Yeah.
time people order, and a couple of our items flew off the shelf.
Which one are
This
people loving the
morning,
most?
people seem to really be into. We've got this one sweater that's sort of a play on the like "keep calm and carry on"
Yeah.
thing that's very common in the UK, but ours says "keep calm and carol on" with an image of like a Christmas caroler.
Yep.
People are really really digging that one. People are really into that design that became very popular. I feel like it was around like the cast of Friends, where it's like Rachel and Chandler.
Yes. Yeah.
We did one with Santa's reindeer.
Yes.
T-shirts are flying off the virtual shelves. Sweaters are flying off the virtual shelves, and we've got them in all colors. So you can get them in black, red, green, whatever your pleasure. You can get, and we have more of those coming soon.
We're going to be releasing more designs sort of throughout the season. So if you've already checked out the store, come back in a week later and see what new stuff we've posted. So I think you're going to like that. We should tell people that they need to follow us on the social medias.
need to.
You need to follow us.
If you don't, just stop listening.
stop listening. Turn it off. Don't come back. No, of course, come back.
Come back.
But please do follow us. You would think that at this point, two
I thought you were about
seasons
to
in,
hit it.
I debated trying. It was like I was standing at the edge of a diving board, and I was like, should I try to say what the socials are?
Yeah.
But I chickened out.
You know
So
what
now
the
I'm-
secret is? This is the secret. So
Yes.
have you ever been bungee jumping?
Yes, I have.
So when you go bungee jumping, like the second you like step over the ledge or out onto the platform or whatever, they go 3, 2, 1. Like they don't allow you to like think at all.
You can't think about it. Yes.
So I think we need to do that with you and the social media stuff.
I need to just
all right,
jump.
So like the gate is open. You've
Here we
walked
go,
out of the
and I
ledge.
walk
3,
out.
2, 1.
Make sure you follow us on social media. We're at Xmas Pod on Twitter and Christmas Countdown Show on everything else.
Yeah.
I did it basically.
See, you just don't think about it.
You just got to
step
jump
out
in,
on that
folks.
ledge, baby.
I feel like a better person now that I've done that. I feel like I've grown as a man.
That was the thrilling experience.
I really honestly legitimately felt like I was on a diving board. I was like, okay, I'm gonna say him.
And you nailed it. That was so great.
10 out of 10.
I thought you were going to say no, you'd never been bungee jumping.
I went bungee jumping when I was in high school. My senior prom, we went up to the Wisconsin Dells. Have you ever even heard of the Wisconsin Dells?
I have heard of them, never been.
It's like an area. It's like a touristy area in Wisconsin.
Is it between Chicago and Milwaukee?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I feel like because that drive to like Milwaukee from Chicago and vice versa, I feel like there's just like a lot of open land.
Yes,
and it looks like there's cool stuff out there, but I never.
Yeah, and the Dells are very sort of. It's like a lake town, and there's the ducks. Like
what
the
is
duck
a dell?
boats. I don't know. I feel like it's a waterfall, a dell.
So,
Not
well,
Adele,
no, she's
but,
a singer. But when they sing the farmer and the dell, are they singing the farmer and the waterfall?
Okay, I'm retracting waterfall, and I'm going with body of water.
Okay, can we go to Chris for the final answer?
What is a dell?
A dell is a small valley, usually among trees.
Ooh, nothing to do
Sort
with
of the
water.
opposite of waterfalls.
Yeah. So it's a valley with trees.
I like that.
And that tracks because that's what the Wisconsin Dells look like.
But what's a dell d'Azim? That's what I'd like to know.
That's a great question for another podcast. But the Broadway cast.
Yes.
Check it out. But we went up to the Wisconsin Dells and did like a little camping thing, and I went bungee jumping there. So it wasn't like over a river or anything like that, like off a bridge. It was very touristy.
Okay.
It was like over a big net.
Okay.
But, I mean, it still was bungee jumping.
Bungee jumping is
Still
bungee
scary.
jumping. It is. I've done that and skydiving.
I've never done skydiving.
I think bungee jumping is more terrifying.
Really?
Because skydiving, you're so far away from the ground.
Sure.
Bungee jumping, and you've got someone on your back w's like, we're just
I'm
doing
gonna
this.
take care of you.
I'll take
Yeah.
care of it. Hopefully this thing opens up.
Yeah.
But even if it doesn't, what are we going to do? But bungee jumping, it's
You're all
just
alone.
you on the ledge, and you got to make that decision
Yeah.
to jump.
That is
It's
true.
sort of like when you're scrolling through Spotify or Apple, and you look up Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like 40 different Christmas podcasts,
Sure.
and you just got to make that decision to jump into one of these shows. You
Maybe
jumped
we could
into
be the
this
one.
one, baby, and
Yes.
we are so glad that you did.
Absolutely. We're very happy that you're here. We also have a Patreon. Some people you've heard us talk about it, but some people may not know. Patreon is a place that you can come and support us throughout the season for a small donation that helps pay for our set and stuff like that. And you will get a lot of cool perks. You get to be a part of our Facebook community, which is very exclusive and very active. There's special perks where you can watch us record an episode, lots of fun stuff. So check that out. And another thing that you can do
many
is you
things.
could send us stuff.
Yeah.
And we're not asking for you could
send
us
cash.
stuff. No, but we're saying that if you want to send us a Christmas card, like our good friend Laura did, we'll put it up here on the set, and we'll read what you write to us. So make sure it's appropriate, and send it over because what made me think of this, Danny, is that you have a special thing by your feet here, and I want you to tell people what it is and where it came from.
So, as I reach down, as I've talked about on the show in the past, and our like super fans know, Home Alone is my favorite Christmas movie of all time, as I know it is for so many people all around the world. Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, love them so much. Home Alone 3 and 4, you can just go away. Or I guess I could have made a rhyme. You could walk out the door. Something like that. Sure. But one of our fans reached out to us recently. This is actually one of our Patreon supporters. Was like, hey, if I wanted to mail, you guys something, where do I send it? And I was like, well, here's our P.O. box. So if you're a fan of the show and you want to send us something, send us a DM or email us kringle@christmascountdownshow.com. And you can send us some fan mail. You can send us a Christmas card to put up on the set. You could send us an ornament to decorate our Christmas trees. Yep. In this case, this individual sent me an advent calendar, not just any advent calendar, Eric. This is a advent calendar. And you might be like, why is he screaming? Because it's a Home Alone official advent calendar. And I scream because it's got, 6 A's at the beginning of You know how like Kevin goes, after he puts on the aftershave. Yeah. So it's this incredible thing where you open it up.
Whoa.
And this big Christmas tree folds out of the middle. Let's see if I can get this. Whoa. The sound of the Christmas tree fold. There it is. Good. That was pretty good. And inside of it are all of these little like vignette images from the movie. There's the tree house. There's the basement with Marv. There's Buzz's room. And behind that are all the little, items for your Advent. And what you do is after you open up these little windows, you hang them on this Christmas tree.
They're like little ornaments?
They're little ornaments that you hang on the tree. So I am so, so grateful for this. I'm hopeful that it's the type of thing that I can use season after season. Because, some Advent calendars, like you can't.
One and done.
They're sort of a one and done situation. But I'm going to do my best to ensure that this one lasts for a very, very, very long time.
I have to tell you about an Advent calendar mishap that I had last year.
Oh, okay.
Last year, I was trying to get, we usually get an Advent calendar for each of our kids, like whatever they're into, Pokemon or PJ Masks or whatever. And my daughter, Sophie, loves Broadway. We've talked about this.
Yes.
She loves everything Broadway. And so I went online and I found what said it was going to be a Broadway Advent calendar. And it had little, sometimes it would have a sticker of Phantom of the Opera, and sometimes it would have a little figurine from Hamilton, or a little, trinket from Wicked, all the different stuff. And it looked really cool. And I was like, this is going to be great. I ordered it in October, so I'd have it nice and early.
Yeah.
It took about a month and a half to get there. It finally came early December. And when I opened it up, it had nothing to do with Broadway. In fact, it had a Star Wars, original Star Wars, the Mark Hamill original Star Wars,
right?
Image over the top of a box with 24 little trinkets. None of the trinkets had anything to do with Broadway. It was a Captain America little keychain, and then Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. It was totally cross-branded. Everything was fell off the back of a truck. It was terrible, and I felt so bad because I thought my daughter would really love this Broadway themed one. So if anybody knows where there's a good Broadway themed Advent calendar, let me know, because I'd love to make it up to my daughter.
Do you think that they just sent you the wrong one?
I thought about that, and I emailed them.
Yeah.
And it was coming from another country, and they were sort of like,
what do we got left?
This is what we got.
I got a Captain America.
Yeah.
I got a shoe.
Yeah. And a
so
paper clip.
funny.
I mean, it was bad.
That's amazing. Well, I do want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Joshua Patton, who is one of our loyal fans and one of our supporters on Patreon, for sending me this Advent calendar. I'm going to be putting this to good use this holiday season. This is just so cool that, that we have these people who are such fans of the show that they want to send us cool little stuff to have.
I love it.
I love it too. I love it so, so much. So, Eric, you mentioned PJ Masks a second ago. Yeah. So my daughter has become obsessed with PJ Masks, out of nowhere. She was obsessed with Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Bluey, all these things. But I feel like this is her first foray into identity-wise. She feels connected to something, to the point where she's singing the songs all the time.
Yeah.
And she's not a huge Halloween person.
Yeah.
Like me. Not really a big fan.
Yeah.
But I brought up the idea of her dressing as Owlette for Halloween. And if she was like, I want to be Owlette.
100%.
So yesterday, we go to Target, right, to get an Owlette costume. And we go to the first Target in our town, because our town has 2 for some reason. And they only had Catboy and Gecko.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
Where's the representation?
Well, I had seen Owlette a week ago. And I was like, I'll come back.
Yeah.
It's not that popular of a show.
Oh.
I was wrong.
Yes.
I was very wrong. So we went to the second Target in town. And where this connects to Christmas is, as we rolled back to the Halloween section, that back aisle, if you're familiar with Target, I feel like Target is
they do
laid
a
out
seasonal thing. Yeah.
exactly the same everywhere.
Yeah.
And the brilliance of it is they put all the seasonal stuff as far away from the door
You got to
as possible.
go through everything else to get it.
You have to walk through everything. And I thought of that yesterday. I was like, nicely done. But as we got back to the Halloween section, even though Halloween has not happened yet, there were a few aisles of Halloween, but then standing next or sitting next to the Halloween stuff, I'm not kidding you, Eric, were 8 pallets that were 7 feet high wrapped full of Christmas decor.
Yes. But it wasn't out yet? It was like sort of there, or it was out?
So they had like one small, you know how they do like their see how these lights look display?
Yeah.
So like that was up, that was set up, but everything else was still in the boxes. Everything else was still wrapped in the plastic.
Tempting me.
So tempting me. I was like, do I go over and like crack the seal on this so that way I can get access to the goodies before everybody else?
Crack at it.
Totally first crack. And then I was like, Danny, it's October, 17th at this point in time. Just wait. And I was like, hey, Emmy, should we get like a little Halloween sign? And she was like, no. And I was like, you are so right. We are saving all our money for Christmas stuff.
Save the budget for Christmas.
And I am so jacked to know that like Christmas. And as I was walking out, I realized like that front area where they have like the cheap $1, $3, $5 stuff.
Yeah.
Half of it was Halloween. The other half was all Christmas stuff.
I know.
Eric, I wanted to buy pillows for this set. Like they had Santa pillows. They had like all these cool
That $1 to
designs.
$3 little $3 spot at the front of the store is hard. I love that spot. There's just, they have the things that are like, this shouldn't be $5, but it also like, do I need this? No, not at all. I do not need this item.
But I want a
But
little
it's
sign
only
that says come to my
$5.
cocoa party.
Right.
Like, I don't know where I'm going to put it.
Exactly.
But I there were so many things I was like, oh, that'll look great on the set. That'll look great on the set. And I was like, Danny, control yourself.
Control.
The set is already full of stuff.
Yes.
And people are going to send you stuff. But what it did make me realize is last season, we talked about so much, with there were like, supply chain issues and all this sort of stuff. We're like, get out and buy your stuff right now. It's going to be gone. When you and I went to Lowe's last weekend to buy all of the stuff for our set, there were items that I had seen 3 days prior that I was like, oh, I'll just come back and get those. Already gone.
Sold out.
Walked up to the employee. I was like, hey, when you get more of these in? He goes, we're not getting any more of these in. I was like, wait, what?
That's insane.
It's October 9th, bro.
It's great, but it's insane.
Yeah. So I've decided, I was driving over here this morning and the first part of my day is all about our show, but I was like, you know where I'm going on my lunch break? I'm going to Lowe's.
Yeah.
And I am getting those
even
things
because you could always return stuff. It's better to buy it and have it. I sound like the worst person in the world. It's like the people that during the pandemic like bought all the toilet paper and then nobody could have toilet. Remember the beginning of the pandemic when like nobody had toilet paper?
I do remember.
And there was like a few people in like Ohio that had bought like all of the toilet paper.
I don't live in Ohio, but I did buy toilet paper.
You were the guy.
But here's the thing. My brother needed toilet paper.
And you were a supplier.
And so I was the supplier. I was slanging that
That's
teepee
smart.
all over town, baby.
That's smart. That was smart.
Anyway.
We did with our sort of friend group of families that live in where I live. We did during the pandemic, we would do trivia nights on every Friday. And it was super fun. And I would host them. And for the first few weeks that we did it, the prize for the family that won was a toilet paper and a little thing of sanitizer.
That's hysterical.
Because they were like gold at
I
that
know.
point early in the pandemic when it was like.
Did I talk to you about this season 1 about hand sanitizer?
No.
So every year on Christmas, my mom fills our stockings with like useful items.
Sure, yeah.
A travel lint roller.
Sure.
A travel Q-tips,
Tide pen or something.
A Tide pen. Floss. Mm-hmm. One of those items that for as many years as I can remember is a travel-sized little hand sanitizer thing. And I would just save them in like an old dot bag.
Sure.
And so when the pandemic hit and you couldn't find hand sanitizer anywhere, I was like, I have so much hand sanitizer. I was like, so
like it's buried in the backyard.
Yes. And I was like, Mom, thank you so much. Like this little thing that I just sort of like wrote off as like, oh, I know I'm getting it again.
Yeah.
Just came in so handy. That's a fun memory. I love thinking about that. Speaking of family, the holidays are coming.
Yes.
And I feel like this is a time where people start making plans. Or plans are already happening. Are you doing that?
Yes, I am. My parents are actually coming the first week of November, which is very exciting.
That's soon.
Yeah, it is very soon because my niece, Waverly, her birthday is coming up, and also Thanksgiving is coming up. And so my parents are sort of doing an early trip to sort of celebrate all those things with us because I don't think we're going to see them at Christmas because we're going to be in LA for Christmas proper, but we're also going to Florida and Chicago mid-December.
Oh, whoa.
To go to my what we call Danley family Christmas. So
Right.
Danley is my mom's maiden name, and that's where a big chunk of our family members are all on that side. So we'll be going to that in Chicago, which I'm very excited about. I think I talked about that before. And then we're also going to go down to Florida and see Lisa's family. But we're trying to be home in our own home for Christmas morning because, this is an interesting thing to talk about.
Yeah.
My wife and I go back and forth, and even I think our kids, in a way, go back and forth in what they want or what they think they want
For Christmas morning?
for Christmas morning
Okay.
in regards to the experience.
Yeah.
So as we've talked about in prior episodes, I've spent a lot of Florida Christmases with my family, and it's great for the kids because they're around family. Obviously, we've talked about this. Christmas is the time to be with family and extended family, and so that is a great part of it. But it is also tricky because they're not waking up in their own beds.
Right.
Anything that they get, we have to somehow figure how to get it back from Florida to California. So that's like a whole kind of hassle, and then sometimes it's like, well, we'll get it for you here and you can keep it in Florida, but then we'll get you another one in California. And it just gets tricky. I love being there and I love being around family, but I kind of made a push with Lisa this year to be like, I think we got to start like having our kids in our own home on Christmas morning. And because that's how I grew up, every Christmas was in my own home. Yeah. And even though we have moved a lot and we haven't lived in one home, which I already deal with the guilt of that as a father, I'm trying to like form these traditions that our kids can have in the light of the fact that they won't have grown up in the same home their whole childhood.
Right.
My kids have lived in 3 different places here in LA. They lived in 2 different places in New York. So the nature of our life and our family's life is moving a lot. And so I'm constantly dealing with, like I said, the guilt of feeling like, am I giving my kids enough consistent memories that when they grow up, they'll be able to like remember sitting at the top of the stairs and waiting to see their Santa gift, like that's what I had, but I feel like my kids don't have that. So we try to make the experiences as similar as we can. But it's something that I struggle with.
Have you talked to your kids about it?
Yeah. My kids, we have talked with them about it and they kind of go back and forth. Sometimes they're like, we want to be in Florida with me and Papa and Grandma and Grandpa and, have that experience. And then sometimes they're like, yeah, we kind of want to be at home for because we also, as we've talked about, we deck out our house to the nines.
Oh, yeah.
And like they want to experience that on Christmas morning. And it's not just the season leading up to it. So, I don't have an answer yet.
Yeah.
And I sort of hope that we're doing an okay job as parents and that they'll grow up and they won't feel like, man, I had no Christmas traditions because my parents just dragged me all around the country. I don't think they'll feel that way. And I think we've been able to have some pretty cool Christmas experiences for them. But yeah, it's tough.
It is tough. My kids are, 1 and just turned 4. So I think Emerson is now just starting to form memories that she will take with her through the rest of her life. And, I think there is something to be said for that consistency. I think it was something I never thought about as a kid.
Yeah.
The idea that I spent pretty much every Christmas morning of my life
The same way.
Either at my mom and stepdad's house or at my dad's house.
Yeah.
I think there was one Christmas where I was in Canada with my dad.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was always, and we moved into my house when I was 9.
Yeah.
So 9 up until this day.
Yeah.
I'm able to go have a Christmas experience at my childhood home. And there is something nice about that. We talked about that during top 10 Christmas albums, right? Like the memories I have of my mom decorating, the interior of our house, listening to the Carpenters' Christmas album. It wasn't like 7 houses that I have this very specific memory of that one house.
Yeah.
That didn't change very much throughout my life, but like every year that space would get decorated for the holidays. And it's something you don't think about as like valuable when you're a child.
Yeah.
And then you get older and you start to understand the feeling of security.
Yeah.
And the feeling of safety that sort of comes from, as we talked about last episode or 2 episodes ago, predictability.
Yeah.
and nostalgia and tradition and the predictability nature of it. And, so I think it's a reminder for me, and I even talked about in the last episode, of rather than thinking about spending Christmas in all these cities around the world, really recognizing that the one place that Christmas, the destination I want to go to most on Christmas morning is my house.
Yeah.
It's my living room with my kids. And so I think you're right. And trying to find that balance is, it can be tough, especially, in a world we live in now where it's like, you got to go where the job sort of takes you. And, I think at the end of the day, like what you're doing, like you're providing great memories for them no matter where.
And I mean, I will say that it's been cool for my kids to have a New York Christmas and a Florida Christmas and an LA Christmas. So they have things to sort of reminisce about, And I think that you sort of, one thing that is cool about having it in different places is that, at least for me as a parent, is I can remember what my kids were really like in each place, and I associate it with a place as opposed to it being in the same place all the time, where sometimes the memories can kind of overlap.
Yeah.
But, so there's the pluses and minuses to both sides.
Always.
We moving on, we have a very cool thing here we're going to do.
Okay.
We're going to play a game.
Oh, I love games.
I love games as well. Our good buddy Chris here is going to give us some this or that's. This or that. What would you prefer, this or that? This is a fun game. We've come up with a few Christmas-styled this or that's. We're going to see how it goes, and if it goes well, then maybe we'll do this on other episodes as well.
That back.
That's right. We'll bring this back to that.
That.
Exactly. All right, so Chris, why don't you hit us with our first this or that question for the two of us.
All right, this would be a good way to warm up to it. We're going to go white lights versus colored lights.
Ooh.
White lights versus colored lights.
That's a great question.
That is a really good question.
Who wants to take it first?
Well,
you go first. I feel like you have a feeling.
Here's what I'll say. I like colored lights on the outside of the house.
Oh.
I think having as many colored lights is great. And for instance, like I love the big fat retro lights that we have here on our set.
You were very adamant that we got those.
Yes, I love the big fat lights. Those are great. So I think I'd lean colored lights exterior.
Okay.
Interior, while I do love a colored light Christmas tree, there is something about a sort of color-themed tree.
Yes.
We did this last year. We got 2 trees, and one of our trees had all the sort of warm white lights, warm yellow white lights, and we put like only gold and red and silver ornaments on them.
Ooh.
And on the tree, and then we got some like red ribbon and gold ribbon, and we like wrapped the tree. So it looked like something that would be in a Saks Fifth Avenue, window or something. But then our other tree had like all of our family ornaments and colored lights, and a little more like smorgasbordy.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think if I had to narrow it down, I'd say colored lights exterior, white lights interior.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it's you bring up the decoration of the tree. I don't think I ever appreciated like a really well-decorated tree until my wife and I got together, because she just decorates the living heck out of our Christmas tree. Right. And she always does the ribbon like you were talking about. And I would say our vibe for the tree is white lights 100% with red ribbon and a lot of gold. There's a lot of gold, but she also finds she has these like snowflake things that have glitter on them, but she buries them like deep in the tree.
Ooh, cool.
So they reflect the lights off, and it just feels like light is coming from everywhere on this tree. So I think for me, the outside of my house, like I have like the white lights around the
trim of the
house, around the roof, up along the peak. But then in the yard, it's a little bit more playful. And much like you, we have the white lights on the main tree in the house, but then we have the second, sort of like Advent-y tree, but also like childhood ornaments. That's all color. So if I had to pick one, because that is what we are debating here. I feel like we're both just going this and that. I feel like we changed this game into this and that. We're really great at improv here. We're just ending everything. But I would say, oh my gosh, when it comes to just the lights. Just the lights.
What brings you the most joy?
This is hard.
It is hard.
I don't know if I
mean, you can literally look over my shoulder.
Set.
There's like colored.
There's white.
And colored. White. Which one
white lights
spurs the most joy?
Oh gosh. I'm going to go with white lights.
I think if I'm being forced to choose, I'm also going to go white lights.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were for
I
sure
know,
with the big bulbs. I thought you were
really thought
going
of it
with the
'cause
colored lights.
I love the big fat colored lights.
It just
But also,
feels-
here's what I'll say is that for me to choose the colored lights,
Yeah.
I would need them to be the big fat retro ones.
Okay.
Because the little LED ones, like these style of lights, the smaller LED lights that we have on our trees here, but that in color is not the same effect as the big fat.
I agree. And here's the good news. You can get all the colored, decorations you want through, like, we have this ornament wreath hanging in here that is green and red and
Yep.
silver and gold. You can get your colored elements
Yes.
through your inflatables and all these other things.
This is true.
But the white lights, there's just something about, I love seeing a house just framed in white lights.
Yes.
It just looks so
Yes.
classy.
It does.
Throw a couple inflatables in the lawn and
And I mean, think about like Christmas Vacation. That was like all white lights.
all white lights.
And it's so effective.
He went ham. Went ham
So
on those
effective.
white lights. Okay.
All right, what's our next one, Chris?
Well, since we're talking decorations, let's talk trees.
Okay.
Real or fake?
Real tree versus fake tree. Do you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, I'll go first on this one. I love a real tree.
Yeah.
It's just, there's something about it. We talked about this season 1. Like, I love the tradition of going to the lot and going around and shaking the tree and turning it around and, feel like bending the branches. Is it snappy? Does it feel supple? Can you turn it any angle and it looks great? I love the old tradition that we used to do before we moved into a fake tree house is we would have them do a fresh cut and you've got that little piece of your tree that you can turn into an ornament. Yep. If it were up to me, and maybe this is a compromise that my wife and I can make long term, is maybe rather than, the dining room tree that's sort of like the playful tree with the Advent stuff and the old, childhood ornaments, maybe rather than that being fake, that can become a real tree.
That's what we did last year. We had, as I was describing, the tree that was all gold and red and everything. That was a fake tree. But then our real tree had all of our childhood ornaments on it. But I'm with you. I'm real tree all the way. There's something about the smell of real pine or fir in your house that is just awesome. There's also something great about the needles getting all over the floor.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I love that. And I love the moment when I'm like laying under the tree and spinning those screws into the base and like, I'm like, is it straight? I can't reach it anymore. Is it straight? And then, Lisa's like, a little bit more to the left. Like that whole experience, while it can be frustrating at times, it is, as you were saying, it's the experience of going to get the tree, looking at it at the lot, trying to haggle with the guy about like, it says 120, but this branch here looks pretty janky. I don't know. Could you do it for 100? Okay, let's do it.
Do it 100. Yeah.
Like, I love that. I will say, though, that last year, our real tree, I don't know if we just overloaded it with too many ornaments.
Okay.
But it struggled.
Oh, really?
It struggled through the season from day one.
Was that the one that was in like
It
the
was
living
in
room
the-
area up
yes.
against the wall?
Up against the wall, not the one that was in the corner.
Okay.
And it was not only leaning, but like it could not take the weight of all the ornaments on it. All of the branches were bending down. It was.
Are we making a case for fake trees?
We almost are, but no. But I still would rather have a real tree. But I'll tell you one little quick tip that you can do. If you have, if you're in a family that is saying that you must have a fake tree, get a real wreath.
Ooh,
So then you can have that real smell in the house. You can touch it to feel the kind of sap and everything like that. So that's what we do. If any year that we haven't had a real tree, we have our fake tree and then we get a real wreath.
Or
Yes.
you pick up
Yes.
what we got at Lowe's.
Talk about this.
So this is a company, I chatted a little bit about them last year. They have these little like hanging green sticks. It's a company, it's called Scentssicles. It's a flameless fragrance, is this one that we have right here. It looks like a little candle jar.
Yep.
But it's full of these little,
They look like little chives almost.
yeah. Oh, you shake it. Shake it and put it in front of your nose.
Oh.
Isn't it? It smells like Christmas.
So good.
So what's really cool about these is that you can hang them on your tree. They come with like little hooks. You hang them on your tree, or you get this little, candle tin thing. Every morning when we're coming to record, I walk into this office and I open the door, It smells like I just walked into a Christmas tree farm.
Amazing.
It's absolutely brilliant. So if you are a fake tree household and you're looking for that real Christmas tree experience, get this thing. I've already blanked on the name again, but it is
Sensicles?
Sensicles.
Sensicles.
Sensicles is when you have stinky tentacles.
It's an octopus problem.
Anyway, yeah, right? All right, should we do one more?
Yeah, let's do another one.
So let's do good gift for one versus little gifts for many.
Okay, now here to clarify, are we talking about the act of giving? Would you rather give a good gift to one person or a bunch of little gifts to many people? Yeah?
Well, here's the thing, like,
Or is it about the receiving? Would you rather get one good gift from a person or a bunch of small gifts from a lot of people? You could flip it either way.
If it's about the giving portion of
Yes.
it, oh dang it, I don't know. Like, I love giving great gifts.
Yes.
But there's nothing that says the little gifts couldn't be great gifts as well.
True.
So if I get the opportunity, rather than spending like $100 or a couple $100 on one person, if I can spread that money across like 5 people, 6 people, but still make it very thoughtful.
Yeah.
Like, to be able to see that joy on many people's faces, I think I would go, I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty easy one for me to say. Like, I like to make as many people happy as possible.
Now, answer the question for in the receiving. Would you rather receive one great gift from one person or a bunch of smaller gifts from multiple people?
That's a great question. I think I'm not huge into like, I got to get a bunch of gifts.
Right.
So like for me, I think one great gift.
One good gift, yeah.
Would be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather like, when I'm opening my gift, I'm like, okay, no, you open that. I really want you to open that one right over there. Like, I think that's where my head is at that point in time.
I would agree. I would say in regards to the receiving, one good gift is better than a bunch of little gifts. Like last season, I got my record player.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was sort of my big gift. And I was like, I don't need anything else. I was so happy with that gift, And then in regards to the giving, it is hard, but I think I love, I'm going to go also with multiple gifts because I love going to like, my favorite place to shop for Christmas is Barnes & Noble. I loved going to a Barnes & Noble because you think you're only looking at books.
Yep.
But they actually have a lot of other good gifty stuff,
Totally.
In regards to kids, they have a lot of like play sets and Lego sets and stuff like that. And then they have like journals and, music and, album sets. And so I love going through a Barnes & Noble and thinking about each person in my family and what would really sort of jump out to them as like, oh, they're, my granddad was like into the Navy. And so like getting a cool like Navy book. And so I just love that kind of thing of finding this. And those books are sometimes like $20. It's not even a big thing. So I'm going to also go multiple gifts.
Well, speaking of gifts, Eric, I want to chat a bit about this movie that's going to be airing on Hallmark Channel.
Yes.
This weekend, Saturday night, October 29th at 8/7 Central, is a movie called Jolly Good Christmas. And this movie takes place in London.
Okay.
And they actually shot this movie in London, which I'm super, super stoked about.
Love that.
Yeah, I know. You love London. Never been, but this is going to give you the opportunity
I can live vicariously through this film.
Live vicariously through David.
Yes.
David is an architect, and he hires a free-spirited personal shopper, Anji, and he finds himself on a wild ride across London in search of the perfect gift, but then he finds something he wasn't looking for. So this whole movie centers around gift giving. I think he wants to, when I was originally learning about this movie, I think he was wanting to give her a gift card, but like he wants to give her something more thoughtful. So yeah, which is what we all, I think, are about, is wanting to give something very specific, very thoughtful. And he finds his personal shopper, Anji. And in our last episode, you brought up this interesting idea of, do Anji and David maybe fall in love?
I think
with
they've
each other?
got to.
Do you think so?
I think they've got to. Also, you've got the like cross-continental love that's exciting, and clearly I can't see them having a movie where it's like, I think we said this last time, that like, this is my new friend Anji, girlfriend. We've just spent the whole holiday season together, and she helped me find the best gift for you. And we talked about it, and we had cider and hot cocoa while we talked about how great you were and how much I had to get you a great gift. And she just really understands my soul. And but she's just my friend. So Merry
She's just
Christmas.
my friend. Yeah, soulmate,
Yeah.
soul friend.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. And I was looking at the artwork for this movie, and it does look like David and Angie, I'm guessing, are like the main two people on
Yeah.
sort of like the hero artwork for this movie. And they definitely look like they're maybe going to be more than friends.
I think so.
And I think that, when you think about the story, we're both sort of guessing that this girlfriend character, maybe their relationship's on the rocks.
Yeah.
Maybe she's not been super supportive of him.
Kind of like the fiance in Parent Trap. That
Oh.
guy, where it's like you can see as an audience, you're like, he shouldn't be with her.
This is not going to work out.
She's wrong for him.
And
Be
we're
with
all-
Angie.
Be with Angie.
She
Look-
understands you. She loves you.
But then the conflict is he's from America.
What's he gonna do? Move over the pond?
He's going to have to move over the pond and spend
And you
some
should
more
live a
time
little
with
bit in
Angie.
London.
Yeah, I mean, look, clearly love is going to be involved. And as we talk about our fantasy, movie league, anytime there's presents, anytime there's going to be love, anytime there's going to be kissing, I'm going to be scoring points. Which
Here's
I'm
a
pretty
question
stoked
for you:
about.
Do
Yeah.
you think that there's going to be royalty in this movie? It takes place in London.
That's a great
Didn't
question.
say anything about royalty in
Right.
in the log line, but I wonder if a prince might happen to walk by, or a queen might happen to walk by.
I mean,
I don't know.
if it happens, I will be stoked because I'm going to get even more points.
Extra points.
If I was going to guess, jolly good Christmas, I'm guessing maybe no.
Jolly good.
But I know from being in England, you never know when you might just happen upon the royal family walking into Westminster Abbey. That happened to me when I was in London the first time I was there. Like Prince Charles was walking out of Westminster Abbey.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that was like my first day in London. I was like,
Is this what London's
it's
like?"
really like? Just the royal family just walking around everywhere. And then when I went to Scotland, the same thing happened again. We were
What
at
did you
the
see there?
Prince Charles again at the palace at Holyrood. My wife and I were there, and we were standing outside the palace. He came walking out with Camilla, just getting in the car. I was like, clearly we got a thing.
Sympathic.
So I don't, as it relates to David's story, I don't know how it's going to play out for him, but I'm really excited to see this Saturday night, Jolly Good Christmas at 8/7 Central. You're going to want to make sure you tune in, and tune in all season long. Hallmark Channel has so many incredible holiday movies that I'm so thrilled about this holiday season.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. I think we should maybe get into this countdown here. Yeah.
I'm so in.
Let's do it.
So stoked. Is that timpani?
It does sound like some timpani. Good call. Definitely some
Thank
timpani.
you. I love timpani.
Okay, here we go. This is going to be top 5 traditions from around the world.
This is so cool.
Traditions from around the world. So these are not American traditions that Danny and I are used to. These are things that are more global, worldwide. I'm going to start us off here. This is a good one. I'm going to pull up my little information here because these are all things that we've not experienced.
I feel like this took a lot of research.
This definitely was a lot of research in this one.
On our show, usually it's like, oh, what's your favorite song? Well, I know what my favorite song is, and I'll tell you why for the next 10 minutes. But like traditions that we've never experienced,
We had to look them up.
we had to look them up. This is going to be sort of like, history lesson meets Christmas countdown.
Christmas countdown.
Meets fun.
Absolutely.
Sure.
All right. My first one is from the country of Poland.
Ooh, okay.
Poland, Polish. On Christmas Eve in Poland, many families share oplatek, which is an unleavened religious wafer. Each person breaking off a piece as they wish each other a Merry Christmas. And this is the part that I loved. Dinner may not begin until the first star appears in the night sky. And traditionally, an extra setting is left at the table should someone show up uninvited.
I love that.
Which I love that. And I love this idea that you can't start dinner until the first star in the sky. It just is such a specific kind of cool thing. And I love, I wonder if people in Poland, are they all waiting outside, all looking up and who can spot a star first,
Right.
And it's like, I see one. Oh, that's a plane. I'm so hungry. I don't know, but I thought that was a cool
I love
kind of
that.
tradition.
What happens on a cloudy night?
Nobody's eating.
Nobody's eating.
Nobody's
We're just eating
eating.
unleavened wafers.
That's right.
All night long. But I love that they also set the extra
The
place
extra
at the
place,
table
yeah.
just in case somebody shows up.
Yeah.
Who's hungry? Maybe the weather got bad and they couldn't get back to their house. They needed somewhere to go to and eat. I love that.
I think I could be totally wrong here because I'm not Jewish, but I feel like there's something in Hanukkah celebrations that or some sort of
Passover.
Jew. Is it Passover
Yes.
where they always leave an empty
Yes,
seat?
I think it's for David, I want to say. No, that's wrong. It's not David. It's oh my gosh, I'm being such a bad split religion household right now. It is, we set an extra place at the table because you even open the door for him.
Wow.
In the second part of the Seder, you open the door so he can come in.
Sure.
And eat. Chris, do you have that handy?
Is it like the Holy Spirit?
No, it's like the spirit of this individual, and that individual is
Hold on, I'm looking. I couldn't stop thinking about David the Architect from the Hallmark movie.
We have
we're
to
setting an
save
extra
a
place
spot.
for David from Jolly
We're
Good
just hoping
Christmas.
he'll come home from London.
He said he was just going over to get a gift.
A gift.
But then he never came home.
We never saw him again.
And somehow we all got British accents back in the US. It doesn't make any sense.
We're ruining this whole bit. How did we not realize that?
Does the chair of Elijah ring a bell?
Elijah.
Elijah.
Yes,
There you
we
go.
save a seat for Elijah at the table at Passover. Anyway, similar idea.
Similar idea.
Yeah. I love that one. That one's so great. Love the idea of like everyone, like you said, standing out in front of their houses looking for the star to come out. There were so many that jumped out at me. I'm going to start with one actually. Yeah, I think when we think of traditions, I don't necessarily think of the U.S.
Sure.
because so much of what we celebrate here came from other countries,
From other
right?
places, yeah.
But there is this tradition in a town in Florida, and that town is called Christmas,
Okay.
Florida. Have you heard of this town?
No.
So there is a town, I think it's about 15, 20 miles outside of Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
It used to be called Fort Christmas,
Okay.
but now it's just called Christmas. And I think it's got like maybe 2,000 people live in this town. But at the intersection of Highway 50 and Fort Christmas Road, all year long, there is a massive permanent Christmas tree that just lives there 365 days of the year.
Love that.
So they say that the permanent Christmas tree in Christmas, Florida is the symbol of love and goodwill, basically the Christmas spirit every day throughout the year. The tree is also accompanied by a small painted concrete Santa statue, an equally red small wood sleigh and reindeer, and a nativity scene. And this tradition lives all year long. You can go look it up. And what's really fun, I was doing this research about Christmas, Florida, which I didn't know existed. And it was sort of fun because we actually had one of our followers on Instagram DM'd us the other day saying that she lives in Bethlehem. I think it's Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
And that a lot of people around the holiday season will go and mail letters to say that somebody got a letter from Bethlehem.
Yeah.
Well, apparently in Christmas, Florida, this is very popular as well, where people will go there specifically
Just to send their letter.
to send their letter or a package to somebody to say that it came from Christmas.
I love that.
Which is really, really neat. And I just love that all year round that they have just leaned into this idea that
Yeah.
we are Christmas, Florida, and all year long we're going to have this massive Christmas tree just right in the center of town.
I love that. Do you know that you can also send mail from Disneyland?
Yes.
There's like a mailbox in Fantasyland that you can put mail into, and then it will get sent out, and then wherever it arrives, it'll say from Disneyland, which is kind of cool.
I know you're sort of, I don't know, you're making me feel bad right now because I was just at Disneyland the other day.
And you didn't send anything?
I have had this dream for years to mail a postcard, a letter, something from Disneyland. And so the other day when I was there for my daughter's birthday, I was like, how cool would this be? I'll mail her a letter on her birthday from Disneyland.
Yeah.
And so I went up to one of the gift shops and I was like, hey, can I buy stamps here? I want to mail something. They're like, well, if you buy something, we'll just mail it for you. It'll take a little. I was like, no. I'm not trying to mail a gift.
Yeah.
You have a mailbox. It's right over there.
Right.
I want to put a letter in it. Can I get a stamp from you? And they're like, no, we don't sell those here. They're like, if they're going to have them anywhere, they're going to be at City Hall.
Right.
So at the end of the day, we were walking out in the City Hall line because it was a rainy day. So like everyone was trying to get a rain check.
Yeah.
So the line was like, I don't know, 50 people long. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, I guess
Next year.
next year. So now we're going to go back to the holiday season.
Yes.
And so maybe I'll send her a Christmas
Yeah,
card.
that's a good idea.
From Disneyland. Anyway.
I've spent about 10 years in Orlando, and I've been through Christmas. There's a town right before Christmas called Bithlo.
Okay.
And Bithlo is kind of a rundown area. We always used to call it the nightmare before Christmas.
That's great. I love
Sorry
it.
if you live in Bithlo. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. I didn't even know this town existed, and I'm so glad I know now. I wish I'd known maybe a few months ago because I was in Orlando.
Sure.
I could have gone there.
You know there's a town called Santa Claus, Indiana?
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, Jay Cutler, the former Bears quarterback, he's from Santa Claus, Indiana.
You know what we need to do? I was thinking about this the other day. Or maybe I talked to Chris about it. How is there not like a travel documentary style show that's all about the history and traditions around Christmas and going to towns like Christmas, Florida and Santa Claus, Indiana and Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and then going to some of these international places as well and interviewing like historians.
We should be pitching this show.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I am right now. I'm pitching it. If you are a studio head and you're listening to the show, you could have the #1 Christmas podcast in the world. Eric and Danny.
Just send us all over the world.
Just send us all over the world to talk about
We'll
Christmas.
talk about it. It's
not
good.
asking for much.
It's good. It's
anyway,
good.
moving right along.
All right. My number 4 tradition is from the Ukraine.
Ooh,
Which
okay.
obviously our thoughts and prayers are
All
with
the things,
the people of the Ukraine right now.
Yep.
Is it? Do you always say the Ukraine? Am I crazy for saying the Ukraine?
I always say
You just
the
say
Netherlands.
Ukraine.
Ukraine. There's no the Ukraine. Yeah, I don't know why that came out. Ukraine, the people of Ukraine. All right, here we go. Orthodox Christians make up nearly 49% of Ukraine's population. They observe Christmas Day on January 7th by dressing in traditional garments and walking through town singing carols. This is the part that I loved. A dish called kutya, 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 I'm guessing, made of cooked wheat mixed with honey, ground poppy seeds, and sometimes nuts, is a popular Christmas Eve treat. Some families throw a spoonful of kutya at the ceiling, and if it sticks, it will be a good harvest in the new year.
Ooh.
I love that.
That's so good.
I think I'd like to do that in my own family, but with like cookie dough.
Ooh.
So like we'll make our Christmas cookies, but then we'll throw a spoonful at the ceiling, and if it sticks, then that means that it'll be a good year.
And if it falls down, it's still going to be a good year because you can eat all the cookies.
Because I'll just catch it in my mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Boom. Win-win situation. That's so fun. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me at number 4, this one is interesting. It comes from Norway. Apparently, this is a tradition that dates back to centuries when people believed that witches and evil spirits came out on Christmas Eve looking for brooms to ride on. So the tradition is when it comes to Christmas, they hide their brooms.
I read about this.
Did you
one.
read about this?
Yes, I love.
I was just like, apparently to this day, many people still hide their brooms in the safest place in the house to stop them from
the
being
witches
stolen
by witches.
That witches are going to come and steal your brooms. And apparently, like in some people, they even hide their mops.
Yeah,
too.
just in case.
It's so funny. Like I'm interested to know, like, if you are a listener of ours who is in the Norway, now I'm doing it.
It's contagious.
Oh my gosh, the is contagious. If you are in Norway
Yes.
and listening to the show, are you one of those people who hide your brooms? And do you do it just out of tradition at this
Yeah.
point in time? Or do you do it because you are genuinely terrified
keeping
that some witch or evil spirit is going to come and steal your broom and ride it around town on Christmas?
If we don't hear from anybody from there, I have a friend who's from Norway, and I'm gonna send her a message and ask.
Okay. Do we know what the Norway accent is?
It's sort of like a Swedish, so it's sort of the up and down.
Okay.
It's
It's
Swedish
like
is
the guy in Frozen,
yes,
the shop
yeah.
keeper
Olaf.
guy. Is his name
Big
Olaf?
summer blowout.
Is his name Olaf?
No, not Olaf. Because Olaf is the.
Oh shoot! What is his name? Family. Like.
Yep.
Hello.
Hello. Big summer blowout.
What is his name?
I don't know.
Do you know? His name's like on the outside of his shop. Oaken.
Oaken. So it did start with an O.
Yes.
Oaken.
Yes. So it is Oaken, and
Yes.
because that movie is set in Norway, right?
It is indeed.
That's right. Because now if you go to Epcot in Norway, you go on.
Yeah.
Why do you?
I have real feelings about that.
About
Because I am Norwegian, and I loved the Norway ride.
it was really cool.
I loved it. I loved the history of the Vikings, and then at the end it was like, we have oil rigs now, and we fish, and I just loved the Norway ride so much. I love Frozen, but it was a sad day for me when they took out the Norway ride and put in the Frozen ride.
But that feature of the backwards
Is very cool,
drop
and they
is really
they
cool.
still do that,
Yeah.
which is great. But I think it's more the film that they would play while you were waiting in line that I loved.
Yeah,
that I
okay.
missed. But I'm sure I can find that on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so my number 3 tradition comes from Japan,
Ooh.
and I'm going to tell you all about it. Here we go. Although Christmas isn't a national holiday in Japan, an estimated 1% of the population is Christian, according to Smithsonian Magazine, its citizens still find an interesting and delicious way to celebrate. Rather than gathering around the table for a turkey dinner, families in Japan head out to their local Kentucky Fried Chicken. The tradition began in 1974 after a wildly successful marketing campaign called, I don't speak Japanese, but Kurosamasu ni wa Kenataki, which stands for Kentucky for Christmas.
Oh, interesting.
And so in 1974, there was this marketing campaign, Kentucky for Christmas, and the fast food chain has maintained its Yuletide popularity, causing some people to order their boxes months in advance or stand in 2-hour-long lines to get their finger-licking good food.
That's wild.
So in Japan, even though Christmas is not necessarily the holiday, at Christmas time, they all get Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That's so great.
Which I thought was so fun.
That's so good. Like, I would never think about getting KFC.
Right.
I don't think about getting it ever, really.
I just had it yesterday.
Oh, did you?
It's
Finger licking good?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that what they say?
Still is. Yeah.
Okay, still is.
Still is.
Still is. Still in your fingers to
That's right.
to this moment. All right, so this one for me is coming from Iceland. And specifically, it is the Yuletide Lads. Did you hear about this?
Yes, this was my next one on my list.
Oh, really? Otherwise known as the Scruffy Santas.
Yes.
And so I'll do a little, maybe I'll go into detail about
Sure.
part of it, and then you can do the rest. So these guys are said to bring gifts to nice children for the 13 nights leading up to Christmas, similar to the 12 days of Christmas here in the U.S. Iceland celebrates 13. Each night before Christmas, Icelandic children are visited by the 13 Yule lads. After placing their shoes by the window, the little ones will head upstairs to bed. In the morning, they'll either have received candy, if they're good, or be greeted with shoes full of rotten potatoes, if they're bad.
I love that.
And that's so good.
I love that it's not coal or it's just rotting potatoes.
Horrible.
And I wonder if it's similar to in America where it's like a threat of like, hey, you don't want to get rotting potatoes in your shoes.
Right.
Or if it's like actually kids get rotting potatoes. Do you know what I mean?
But like the idea that you actually have to go out and find the rotting potatoes as well. And you're like, why are you collecting all those rotting potatoes? Oh, for all the bad kids.
You should see what Billy has been like this season.
There's not enough
there's no
rotten
chance
potatoes
that he's not getting rotten potatoes. Yes, so my number two my number two was this as well, the Yule lads.
Okay.
And so I'm just going to jump off what you were saying here.
Yeah.
Something that I read about them, which I thought is great, is it says, clad in traditional Icelandic costume, these fellas are pretty mischievous.
Yes.
And their names hint at the type of trouble they like to cause.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to say a name, and you just tell me what you think it might stand for. Okay. This is in Icelandic, which I don't speak. And we talked about before, we don't have a good Icelandic
No. And probably
accent.
never.
But here we go. This one is Strekjastar.
A striped pajamas.
Very close. A sheep code clod. Don't know what that is.
So I'm very
Okay,
close.
here's another one. Giljagar.
Giljagar, that's going to be fish monster.
Yep, gully gawk. Okay, next one. Stuffer.
This would be the stuffing you put in your turkey.
Exactly. Stubby. This is great. Let me give you one more. This one is it's a PVO with the umlaut.
Yeah.
RUSLEIKIR.
Okay.
Pvsuliker.
This would be the guy who likes to punch people in the face.
Oh, so close. It's spoon licker.
Oh.
But there's a bunch of really fun names. You should check it out because there's a doorway sniffer who's named Geta Befur. There's Ketakruk, who's a meat hook.
Oh my God.
There's Kerstasnicker is a candle stealer.
Wow.
There's a bunch of good ones in there.
There's also a sausage swiper.
There is
I don't know if you saw him.
There is a sausage swiper. There's a skyer gobbler and a door slammer.
Wow.
So these are
These
all
guys are really getting into mischief.
very mischievous.
Slamming your doors, scraping your pots, swiping your sausages.
Oh, this is so
I
great.
like these guys.
So the Yule lads.
The Yule lads.
I think that we should get like the Backstreet Boys or some sort of boy band to record a whole Christmas album as these different characters.
Yeah.
And they'd have to use an Icelandic accent.
Okay.
They would have to tell us if they're, a door slammer, a sausage stealer, whatever it might be, and then see what happens.
Door slammer. That reminds
be
me
magic.
of Pogs for some reason.
Oh yeah, slammers.
Slammers.
Those
Oh
were
man.
great.
And if you're really next level, you play slammers. Did you ever play
know.
Pogs just with slammers?
No.
Where
So
you would
stacked
stack
a
your
bunch of
slammers,
Whoa.
and if you lost your slammers.
All your slammers.
That happened to me.
Do you remember that how they had those like tubes that you would have all your
Of course
Pogs in?
I do.
Man, those
Of
were
course
great. That's an interesting toy that has not come back in a retro way.
This is an opportunity.
For real, because they bring everything back. Like all the
Yeah.
toys that we were into, Easy Bake Oven, all those types of things. They're all re-released now
Yeah.
for this generation. We should try to get Pogs going again.
We need to make Christmas countdown Pogs.
Yes.
How do we do that?
I'm all in.
I'm gonna take our stickers and just glue some cardboard
yes,
to the back.
exactly.
Like, what is this? It's a Pog.
It's a Pog. You
like,
can get it
okay.
at ChristmasCountdownShow.com. Nerd.
Yeah.
All right, so that was my number 2.
All right.
So I sort of jumped off your number 3.
No, that was
so,
great.
So we're right
I love
back
that we
at
picked
you.
the same one. So number 2, this one I read about and I was like, this sounds like a dream.
Okay.
This sounds like an absolute dream, and it is Dutch Christmas. Do you know about Dutch Christmas?
No, not really.
So in the Netherlands, where the Dutch live,
Right.
there is a public holiday of the 25th and 26th of Christmas. Like they basically decide like Christmas Day is Christmas Day.
Love that.
And you go through all those traditions, but you take that second day of Christmas to spend time with family, to play games.
Love that.
To go to the park. All these sorts of things. Like
Is it similar to Boxing Day, which is in the UK, which is the day, I think that's the day after Christmas.
yes. So some people will go shopping, you know, on the 26th. It's really sort of like it's taking an opportunity. So rather than like rocketing towards Christmas and like once Christmas is over, now you got to get back into the fray of like normal life.
Right.
I love this idea of taking an extra day, and it is a public holiday, to sort of cool off. Because if you're like me, like oftentimes when it gets to like 5 o'clock on Christmas, 7 o'clock on Christmas Day, I start to get a little melancholy because I'm realizing that there's, 7 hours left, 5 hours left of Christmas Day. And I'm like, this whole month is 2 months in our case has led up to this day. Yeah. And now it's gone. Like, how amazing would it be? It's sort of like when you book yourself a vacation and you book an extra day on the back end.
Sure.
And you're like, I don't know if I need an extra day, but then you're there.
You need it.
And you're so grateful you have that
Yeah.
extra day. I think an extra day of Christmas is what we all need.
And I like that it's sort of mandated, that it's an official holiday
Totally.
of the country. That's great. I love that. I
think
wonder
we need this here in the US.
I wonder though if it's because the Netherlands are not that far from the UK, if it has any association with the Boxing Day, which is Boxing Day only in the UK, or I think it's maybe in Canada as well.
I think Canada does it as well.
Yeah.
Do you know, Chris?
Boxing Day is traditionally celebrated in the UK and their commonwealths. Originally, it was a day where servants would have off after Christmas, and they would get a gift.
So the rich people get to celebrate Christmas, and then the poor kitchen people and maids and everything, they get the day.
They get the day after. Yeah, exactly.
How British.
While you're boxing up all our amazing gifts that we got a couple little
have
things
some
for
for
you
you.
as well.
I love
My kid
that.
didn't want this, so you can have this. It's broken.
Exactly. That's a great segue because we're at my number 1 here, and mine is from the UK.
Okay.
My number 1 tradition from around the world is Christmas crackers.
Ooh.
Christmas crackers are these things that they do in England and all around the UK, all of the Commonwealth, where at dinner on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, they will take these little tubes, almost like a toilet paper tube,
Right.
that's wrapped in wrapping paper and kind of comes to a point at each side. And 2 people will grab the cracker, and they both pull, kind of like a wishbone that Americans do on Thanksgiving. And whoever gets the bigger part of the cracker gets what was inside.
So cool.
And so there might be little toys or trinkets or something, but the main thing is these paper crowns.
Yeah.
And it's such an interesting tradition. And what I love is they say that literally everyone in England does these paper crowns. Everyone, including the Queen, will like wear a paper crown on Christmas because it's such an like important part of Christmas. And there's something about you see it in movies a lot of like, the British family, and they're all wearing these little thin paper crowns.
Right.
And what I love about it is I love seeing like the stiff upper lip father of a British family, but even on Christmas he wears his little paper crown.
Right.
And there's something about like the humbling of oneself to possibly look silly.
Yeah.
To lean into the tradition of the holiday, which is what's kind of struck me. I love that idea that Everyone in England is doing it. They're all wearing these little paper crowns, and I just thought it was really cool. So that was my number one.
Do you do Christmas crackers at your house?
I don't, but I might start.
Oh, you can go to like Home Goods will sell these really nice ones because you can
cool.
go to like, Target or whatever, and they're a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
But you go to Home Goods and they come in these like big cardboard boxes.
Whoa.
And the crackers are like a foot wide.
Whoa.
And so you like cross your arms like this
Right.
with the person next to you and you pull at the same
Yeah.
time. And they have like this charge that goes off inside and they go
Yeah.
crack. And then inside, like sometimes the gifts are pretty cool.
Pretty good?
Yeah,
I
I think
love
I got a money clip once.
Whoa.
I got a divot.
Do they have the paper crowns though,
Oh yeah,
too?
oh
Okay,
yeah,
great.
and they have like jokes, just like
Sure.
all that sort of stuff. I got a divot repair.
Nice.
One year, I was like, this is like right up my alley.
Sweet.
Nobody else wanted them,
Right.
so I was just winning. No, I love Christmas crackers. We should do them maybe on the show.
Yeah.
at some point.
I like that.
That would be a ton of fun. All right, so my number one comes to us from the country of Spain. So Spain has this thing called El Gordo. Do you know what El Gordo is?
I don't.
All right, well, let me tell you about it. El Gordo, or the Fat One. It has become a huge social event, usually on December 22nd, and people get together with dozens of lottery tickets each in high hopes of being one of the lucky winners. The lottery numbers are traditionally sung by a choir
Fun.
of 22 school children, and the whole country basically stands still in hopes for the Christmas present of a lifetime.
Wow.
The splitting of the prize money is what makes the Spanish Christmas lottery such a beloved tradition, as well as the root of the lottery's slogan. And the slogan is El mayor premio es compartirlo, which means the greatest prize is sharing. Many families or groups of friends will all chip in for a decimo to be shared among everyone.
Right.
So basically, the way this works is that like you can buy like one whole ticket, or they'll sell like decimos, which are like
Parts of a ticket?
Parts of a ticket.
Okay.
So what'll happen is like entire towns will like go in
Wow.
on tickets together, restaurants, pub, bars, all that sort of stuff. Local coffee shops, you can like buy in like a decimo of their ticket.
That's great.
With the idea being that like you want the greatest chance of winning, but you get to share in this experience together. So like if your little town were to have the winning numbers, then everyone in your town, because it's usually up around like 4 million lira, I think is what it is. So everyone could win like 100,000.
That's awesome.
Which is really, really cool. And I just love this idea of like everyone wanting to like be in on it. Together. And I love, so the way it works is when they draw the numbers, as I was talking about with the kids sing out the numbers.
Like the lottery
it's
drawing?
like on a national broadcast, and like the whole country shuts down while everyone watches this broadcast.
Do they do like the little balls like they do?
They're wooden balls and these big like metal drums. They get turned around at some venue, and they come out and the kids sing some song about
love that.
Sace or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I love the lottery. I love I love giving out scratchers in stocking stuffers or in Christmas cards, and I just love this idea of like the whole country. Because I think you can actually the tickets I think go on sale in like I want to say September is what I read.
So they've been planning it.
Oh yeah, it's like a national thing, and it started, if I remember correctly, as like a wartime effort.
Sure.
To help raise money for when Spain was at war.
Yeah.
And now it's this tradition that's continued on where everybody wants to get a little piece of the action.
That's
which is really, really fun.
really
it's called
great.
El Gordo.
I love that.
Yeah, right?
All right, folks, that's the end of episode 204. Just a reminder, it is 59 days till Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
59. We are less than 60. We are getting there before you know it. So we hope that you enjoyed this trip around the world with these festive traditions.
Yep.
And we would just like to say, myself, Eric El Gordo Peterson, and Danny Jordan.
Decimo?
Danny Decimo Jordan. We wanted to tell you, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you on the next one. Make sure you follow us on all the socials. Check out the website, ChristmasCountdownShow.com, for any merch you might be needing. Check out the Patreon, all the things. Rate and review. And as we finish every episode, we like to say, Merry Christmas.
And happy holidays.
See you on the next one. Bye-bye.
See ya.